The global village is an electronic nervous system that connects all human beings together. As Marshall McLuhan put it back in the 1960s, the global village is as big as a planet and as small as the village post office. The world is the same size it ever was, only it feels much smaller now because of our technology. You might assume that a world of human beings that are electronically connected together is a good thing. Certainly, the global village has all kinds of advantages, yet for many of us, the global village is having quite an impact on our feelings of self-worth. Think you're a good guitar player? You're no Jimi Hendrix. Want to be a writer? You're no Ernest Hemingway. The internet is crammed full of bloggers, and there are 3.4 million ebooks on Amazon. Thinking of learning a new language? Check out Bill's YouTube videos. He's bilingual in 8 languages. Thinking of getting into shape? Check out Stacy's Instagram. She has a gorgeous body and 2.7 million followers. Our hierarchies of accomplishment are now dizzyingly vertical. At every single turn, someone is better. No matter how good you are at something, there is always someone out there who makes you look incompetent. And not only does technology give you access to the best individuals in the world in every single hierarchy, but these individuals are actively pushed into your consciousness. Former US President Theodore Roosevelt once said that comparison is the thief of joy. If comparison was the thief of joy in the 20th century, then comparison is the thief of sanity in the 21st century. Humans have always evaluated their personal attributes against those of their neighbors. What's different now is that the pool of people we compare ourselves to is infinitely bigger. We've gone from comparing ourselves to the other members of our tribe to instead comparing ourselves to the entire 4.5 billion or more of the human race that are connected to the internet. It was easier to be good at something when we lived in small rural communities. There was one chef, 2 mechanics, 1 writer, 1 guitar player, 1 basketball star, and before then, in our tribes, David was the best spear thrower, Lucy was the best chef, Mark was the best at skinning animals, Sophie was the best at finding berries. In these small communities, each person was a local hero who got to experience the serotonin-filled confidence of being the best, of being truly useful. The effects of the global village have been hanging over your head and you didn't even notice, dashing your spirits every time you decide to develop yourself, encouraging you to quit before you even start. Our ancestors never dealt with this sense of inadequacy. Life may have been tough, but they had a firm identity within the tribe. They were truly valuable to the group. In the global village, many of us are robbed of that pure sense of identity. As humans, we're constantly evaluating ourselves across multiple domains: attractiveness, wealth, intelligence, and success. And this makes perfect sense. When you live in a tribal environment, how else are you supposed to determine your worth? Are you going to compare yourself to trees or clouds? Of course you compare yourself to other human beings. You need markers to determine who you are, and these markers are other people. This mechanism worked flawlessly for the 150-person tribes our brain is evolved for. We have a perfect comparison mechanism provided to us by nature, but this is completely distorted by our connected media environment. If a Stone Age girl wasn't the prettiest in her tribe, the difference wasn't likely to have been that dramatic. Everybody had opportunities to see others looking at their worst. They saw each other tired, hungry, and sick on a regular basis. But in the global village, society searches through millions of young women to select the best faces and bodies, perfects them in Adobe Photoshop, and displays them to us constantly in advertising, movies, and through social media. How is the average teenage girl supposed to compete with these super enhanced images of female beauty they're exposed to on a daily basis? The advice for the old world would be, don't compare yourself to others. And that's all well and good. But this advice simply isn't good enough for a teenage girl in the new world. Comparison is a perfectly natural mechanism for teenage girls, and simply telling them not to compare themselves with others isn't going to stop them from doing it. When you expose yourself to media, every single attribute you have is weighed up against the absolute best of the entire connected planet. We have a natural mechanism in our brains that constantly compares ourselves to others, but because our entire planet is connected with technology, these comparisons are completely unrealistic. Because the pool of people for comparison is so incredibly huge, almost everyone feels like a loser in the global village. The global village may encourage a sense of inadequacy to rise up in your gut. You're progressing slower than you should be. You weren't born with the right talents. You're too old to achieve anything. You're flawed in this way and in that way. And it's hopeless. It's a waste of time. It's too late. What do you do when your little goals seem pathetic and worthless in the face of the amazing things others have achieved? Well, you can start by recognizing the insanity of trying to compare yourself to the absolute best in a population of 4 billion plus people who are connected to the global village. The media is tricking you. You are not competing against the people you see on media. There is plenty of room for everyone to be successful in their own right. You think, what's the point? There will always be people better than me. But this kind of thinking, while seemingly logical on the surface, doesn't hold up to scrutiny. In the first place, the very act of pursuing your goals will make you happy, which will in turn make your friends and family happy, which will proceed to make the people in their lives happy. For that reason alone, pursuing your endeavors is truly important. But further than that, because of the nature of our connected global village, we are not isolated individuals with no means to affect anything. Every one of us is a node in a network. You'll probably know 1,000 people in the course of your life, and they will also know 1,000 people. This puts you just one person away from 1,000,000 and just 2 people away from 1,000,000,000. And that's without taking into account the use of social media and the internet. The actions you take have ripple effects across our global network that you can't possibly comprehend. So while the global village may make your ideas, goals and actions seem insignificant and pointless, this is actually an illusion. The global village means that your actions are more important and more significant than they've ever been.